We don't talk about movies enough around here. It's one of the main pillars I built the site on, but I end up putting it on the back burner until the end of the year. That started to change in 2018. I still didn't make many videos about movies, but I watched a lot of movies this year, probably more so than in any other year. And it was pretty split between old films and new films, which made it surprisingly difficult to choose picks for my best movies of 2018 feature. So, without further ado, let's get started and run those down. You know the drill by now. We're starting off with Best Old Movie of 2018. I saw a handful of old movies this year that I would consider 5-star films, but there can only be one. I didn't mean to make that a Highlander reference. Here's my pick for Best Old Movie of 2018. Best Old Movie, Drive. I slept on Drive for way too long. I've historically been bad at keeping up with movies, even ones that have my friends basing their entire aesthetic off of them for a short period of time. I know, Carlos, I should have seen this years ago. But my god, what a movie. It's not often something lives up to the hype I hear by the time I get around to it. Drive absolutely did. The music, the look, and even Ryan Gosling's acting, which is admittedly just him being cool, stoic, and leaning on walls. It all works together to make a fantastic mood piece. A surprisingly violent mood piece, actually. I knew some shit went down in that movie, but boy do they show it. And yet, it doesn't take me out of the headspace the film wants me in. If anything, it draws me in closer. Which is a weird thing to say out loud about violence now that I think of it. But it doesn't linger on that stuff, which is why it works. Drive is great, and I kind of feel bad for not watching it sooner. And now on to the top 3. The original theme for this video was going to be style, because all 4 movies I was gonna talk about had some fucking style. But now I had to rethink my list, and the movie that is on the number 3 spot doesn't have style in the same way, but it's still a charming, feel-good film that deserves a spot on this list.
And then last year, as my friend, we do everything friends do. We drink way too much.
Number 3, Love, Simon.
Totally, perfectly normal life. Except I have one huge-ass secret.
Movies based off young adult novels are always hit and miss for me, but Love, Simon was an absolute hit. Most importantly, it's the story about a young, closeted teen and dealing with the emotional turmoil that comes along with that. And I'll get back to that because I don't want to downplay it. But it's also a story about friends, family, and being young and unsure of everything. Whether you're queer or not, there's something in this movie that's gonna hit you. For me, it was 2 things. 1, the general anxieties and emotions that come with trying to find your place in life, for whatever reason. And 2, the family dynamics. Simon's family is exactly what you would picture when you think of a perfect family. It feels like it comes right out of a book, purposely so. They're happy, supportive, and loving, and the scenes where that love is expressed really got to me. I love my family. They are equally supportive and loving. I wouldn't be where I am today without them, but a lot of times I feel like I'm not good at showing them that. Those heart-to-hearts that Simon and his parents have, I can't do that. It doesn't come naturally to me. It's incredibly difficult for me to open up and do so. So seeing it on film makes me feel, I guess, like I'm living vicariously through those characters. And it hits me hard. But circling back to Love, Simon being a coming out story, I love how positive it is. And it does it in a way that still feels realistic and grounded. Some aspects are a little pristine, from some relationships and character personalities, right down to the wardrobes and the way the film is shot. But it never crosses that line into being too idealistic. I think making this story so hopeful, so neatly wrapped up, is incredibly important. There's enough tragedy out there. We can use a few glimmers of light. Go watch Love, Simon. It's a pure, touching, human story that everyone should see. Whether you see yourself in it, you see someone you care about in it, or you just need a reminder of what having good things happen feels like. Now, hold on to those emotions for a little bit because we're moving on to our number 2, which goes back into our movies with style.
Why are there 6 guns in your car, Dad?
Oh, Colin, man, I like yours right here.
Yo,
that
this
is
is not
dope.
my...
Number 2, Blind Spotting.
You're not loaded, bro.
Those are for sure loaded.
Okay.
See?
West Coast, East Bay, Oakland style is what Blind Spotting has. I am into everything this movie is doing. It gives you a look into a community that feels true to life and not gussied up at all, while simultaneously managing to tell a story in ways that, at times, feel almost thespian. There is some visually arresting use of color and lighting throughout the entire film. The dramatic moments are heightened and very theatrical, and the main characters often freestyle through entire scenes as a means to process their own thoughts. But those bits of rhyming and prose still feel natural. They come out more organically than something you'd see on stage. And I hate using that word as a descriptor, but it actually fits here. Partly because those moments fit Oakland culture, but also because the main characters have such an amazing chemistry. Daveed Diggs and Rafael Casal are real-life friends. They wrote the movie together, and it shows. This movie jumps back and forth between comedy and drama. It works as well as it does because that's how friendships work, especially ones at a crossroad like the one in the movie. Diggs and Casal really put parts of themselves into this film. Not just the characters they play, but the whole thing. The film's tone mirrors the tone of a friendship. Blindspotting already tells a gripping story about gentrification, race relations, societal bias, and toxic friendships. But the performances from Diggs and Casal elevate it even higher. More people should watch Blindspotting. It's very good, and I think it deserves some wider praise. But, you know what else is very good? My number one pick. My number one pick is so good. Oh man, I'm so excited to talk about it. I bet you can already guess what it is. I'll give you a hint. It's right over there.
Needless to say, I keep watching. She was on back.
Number 1. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. East Coast, New York, Brooklyn style is what Spider-Verse has. I was a little scared that I wasn't going to be able to watch this in time to consider it for Best of 2018. Luckily, I was able to catch a screening on December 1st, right before my hard cutoff date to start production on this feature. And I'm so happy to name this my favorite movie of 2018. This might be the best superhero movie ever. Yeah, I said it. Suck it, Infinity War. You want to talk about style? Let's talk about how this movie mixes like 5 different styles from different universes and still makes it totally cohesive. Noir, old cartoons, graffiti, anime, all come together to make a beautiful, colorful comic book in motion. And I really do mean that. The way each scene is framed looks like it could have been ripped right from a panel, right down to the little visual elements and flourishes. The spidey sense, thought bubbles, sound effect, words. They're called onomatopoeias, Petey. Spider-Verse is also so clever and funny, and of course it is, right? You have to have a bit of wit in your Spider-Man movie for it to be good. That's who Spider-Man is. But that's especially so in this movie. There were multiple times throughout the film where the entire theater I was in burst into laughter. The writing is quick, the visuals support the jokes, and the editing amplifies the delivery. There's even a post-credit scene that I won't spoil, but if I were to explain it to you, you would think it'd be real dumb and there's no way that joke could actually work. But they pull it off and it's fucking hilarious. And let's talk about Miles for a second. There might be a handful of spider people in Spider-Verse, but this is still Miles' story. He is the centerpiece of this movie. We've seen Spider-Man's origin story a million times, and they make light of that in the film, but Miles' feels fresh. He's not Peter Parker. He has his own style, his own demeanor, one that I probably relate to more than Peter's. Which, hey, half Latino Spider-Man, full Latino Spider-Fan, makes sense. I can keep going. The soundtrack is great, all the actors really sell their roles, but I only have so much time to talk about this movie. Spider-Verse will make you smile so much your cheeks will hurt. I adore it. It's a movie about a bunch of people unbelievably coming together to make something amazing happen. And that's kind of the story behind the movie too. So much could have gone wrong, but in the end, we got something truly amazing. And that's it for movies. If there's anything I take away from doing this feature this year, it's being reminded that I really do love movies and I should make more time for them. It's harder for me to keep up to date with movies and in turn make videos about them, partially because of my chosen career path, I think. But let's try to change that next year. Anyway, stay tuned, we still have one more best of feature coming to you guys tomorrow, so talk to me in the comments about your favorite movies, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.